Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us again on the Exploring Mining podcast. Today's interview is a follow-up with Chris Timmins, President and CEO of Pegasus Resources. Pegasus Resources trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol PEGA. Pegasus Resources is a diversified junior mineral exploration company with a focus on uranium and gold properties in North America. In the podcast, we talk about their latest press release on their historic data in Utah and how this adds to the drilling program coming up this summer. We speak about results from the Energy Sands project, permitting, and more. The Energy Sands project is 100% owned with 78 lode claims covering over 1,500 acres in San Rafael Uranium District of Utah, approximately 4 kilometers from the San Rafael Uranium Project of Western Uranium and Vanadium. For more information, please visit the company at pegasusresourcesinc.com. This podcast may contain forward-looking statements. Investors are reminded to do their own due diligence and read all disclaimers and disclosures at the end of the show. This podcast is a paid-for podcast with Pegasus Resources. Chris, it's great to have you back on the show. You had a big, exciting press release out on some historical data that you acquired now. Can you just talk to investors a little bit about what the significance of that means for you?
Sure. It's good to be here again, Cali. Nice to see you. We're pretty excited about this news release. We received this historical data, and it really shows us that we're onto something here down Energy Sands. This data with the ground program we did back in January, it's very encouraging, and these results show us that we have something here at Energy Sands to really work with.
And can you just reiterate for investors that maybe didn't see that press release of some of your amazing surface samples and assay results that you came out with?
Sure. So the surface samples that we did 43 samples on a ground program back in January of 2024. 11 of those samples came back with over 1% uranium. So very encouraging results, even for grab samples. Obviously, grab samples are selective, so you're always trying to pick the best of everything. But this really shows you that there is some exciting uranium grades on this property. We did have one grade come back at 18.87%, which was pretty mind-blowing, and it definitely got us some attention in the markets as well as with some of the locals in the Utah area. So we then came up with this drill data that was historical in nature. We have 11 drill holes on the property here that we put into a model. So we made a geological model with the data. And what we came up with is there's paleo channel there. And that paleo channel is where we find uranium on the properties in Utah a lot of the time. So we're very encouraged by this data that we're seeing here. And we're excited to get out there and chase it down some more. And it's exciting that you have Daruj with you as well as your geological team. That's fantastic. Can you talk a little bit about, I know you just mentioned that, but can you talk a little bit about the consistencies that you're seeing from the historical and then the geological mapping that you've done? Yeah, so the grab samples we did really showed us this one area to focus in on. So what happened was that when we put that news out in March about these grab samples, it really did grab the attention of some of the locals. And one of the locals reached out to us, and he actually supplied us with this historical drill data that we presented here last week in our news release. And like I said, we had 11 drill holes on our property, and 5 of them came back with some very impressive numbers. 3 of those drill holes came back with numbers of over 1%. One was 3.14%. Another was 2.16 with another section in that same drill hole of 1.87% uranium. So very exciting numbers, very encouraging. And it says we're in the right area here, and we're excited to get a permit together and go drill this. Wow, that is exciting. Can you talk to us a little bit where you're at with permitting, and does obviously this historical data and all that help move it along a little quicker? Sure. We actually had hoped to have our permitting done by now, but when we got this historical drill data and we realized the relevance it held for our actual drilling, we obviously hit the brakes a little bit, and we worked all this new data in, because when we did the original ground program in January, we staked out where we wanted to drill. But with this historical data we had, we changed everything, because this data ruled out some areas. We're like, okay, well, there's no point drilling there. So that's going to save us a ton of money, that we're not going to go out and drill an area unnecessarily. So we already know where to focus right now on this. And we do have other targets across the property, but based on with the grab samples we did in January and this historical drill data, we're going to really focus in on this area because we believe that this data shows a paleo channel, and paleo channels are basically just river channels that have been filled in with sediment over the years. And that's where all the uranium gets trapped down here in Utah. So having this on the property really means that we probably have a deposit here. So it's just a matter of seeing what kind of size we can get out of it.
You're making my job easy for me because I was going to ask if there was some cost saving involved in this.
There is a lot of cost savings involved. I mean, if we were to drill this, it would have probably cost us $150,000 to do this drilling on our own. So having this done, that's $150,000 we don't have to spend. And when we go and do our drill program, we're going to be much more focused than we would have been without this historical data. So very exciting to get our hands on this data, and it's going to make things much smoother when it comes time to drill.
Wow, that is fantastic. So with that savings, are you going to add depth to your drill targets that you have, or are you going to keep that in for the next round, or?
We're going to go out and we're going to optimize our drilling. We still want to do about 10 holes, maybe 40 holes. It really depends on, we're actually like redoing all our drill holes again, of course, and that's almost completed. Right now, I think we're looking at doing 40 holes at around 100 feet. So that'll give us a nice program, and that'll help us really define this target.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us on the show again, Chris. And for investors that haven't reached out and want to reach out, where can they connect with you? I know you're quite busy on Twitter and LinkedIn, and you're everywhere.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn under my name, Christian Timmins. And on X, you can find me, Twitter. You can find me under Mr. Chris_Timmins. And yeah, I'm pretty active over there. I'm always happy to engage with investors or whoever and talk about Pegasus resources.
Oh, great. Thanks so much for the time today, Chris.
No, pleasure. Nice seeing you again.
Well, that does it for today's Exploring Mining podcast. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for this podcast, please contact investorideas.com. InvestorIdeas.com reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website. All investment involves risk, and this podcast is not meant to be an endorsement to buy or sell securities or products. To hear more podcasts, you can go to InvestorIdeas.com/audio. And a reminder, you can also hear our podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeart.com, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, and SoundCloud.